Please open the scripture first. Page 3, fourth line of the scripture. There are also 16 virtuous teachers like Xian Hu, known as good teachers for bodhisattvas. The bodhisattva of eloquence. Last time, we talked about this part. The meaning of the scripture is very profound. We need to understand it very carefully. Only then can we truly obtain the exceptional benefits of Buddhism and its merits. Previously, also mentioned to everyone, Elder Chia Lianju compiled the original text. Initially, he divided the entire scripture into 37 sections. Later, when revising it, he divided it into 48 chapters. The section we are looking at now. In the previous good section, we clearly found this out. These 16 lay bodhisattvas should be included in the first section. In the section of great achievements, there are sounds, and within the text, there are bodhisattvas. Among the bodhisattvas, there are monastic bodhisattvas and lay bodhisattvas. This should be the way to divide it, right? I have raised this question before. Why does he want to segment it in the practice section, in the bodhisattva section, dividing it? This is not a small section. It's in this place, regularly one section. I have raised this before. It makes sense. Do you understand this reasoning? How many people can see this method? It indeed makes sense. Because these 16 venerable ones are the lifeblood of the entire scripture. Can we grasp it in primary school? Brilliant. Grasping the principle we talk about, upholding the Dharma in Buddhism. How can you grasp it? The Great Master's method. The key lies here. Whether at home or as a monk, practicing to achieve true results. Is there any achievement? It entirely depends on whether you can take care of yourself. Well, as we talked about protecting the Dharma yesterday, do you understand? In today's terms, do you understand how to take care of yourself? Be a bit more willing to let go. Do you understand self-love? Which kind of intensity is self-love? It's about taking care of yourself. Truly understanding how to take care of yourself. Truly understanding self-love, protecting yourself, and having smooth sailing on the path to enlightenment. How could there be any reason not to succeed? So, the meaning derived from this is very, very profound and extensive. Then, regarding the Bodhisattva's good contemplation, I have proposed 3 points. We must extinguish the 4 doors of becoming. This contemplation, often think about the suffering of sentient beings. Sentient beings in 6 realms of rebirth are very much the same. Confused, deluded, ignorant. Creating karma, its effects. There is no day of liberation. The suffering in the human realm is nothing compared to the 3 evil parts. How many times more severe? Often think about the suffering of sentient beings. If we ourselves do not have the ability to transcend the 3 realms, do not have the ability to escape reincarnation, evil part, we must accept it. No one committed 3 karmas. Everyone has created it. The first chapter of the Bodhisattva in the original text explains it well. All thoughts and actions of sentient beings in Jambudvipa are sinful. This statement is true and not an exaggeration. All thoughts and actions are selfish and self-serving. The things we do are all harmful to others and not beneficial to ourselves. People in this world often say harm others to benefit oneself, but that's incorrect. Harming others will definitely not benefit oneself, but harming others can benefit oneself. This is a good thing, and I am willing to do it. Harming others won't help. The small benefits gained are nothing compared to the unimaginable consequences that follow. Creating such ignorant actions leads to experiencing the consequences of hell. So when you think of the suffering of all beings, you realize your own suffering when you reflect on it at home. If you don't think about the suffering of others, you won't realize your own suffering. There are very few people in the world who truly understand themselves. They see others clearly, but cannot see themselves. It's like having 2 eyes that only look outward and cannot look inward. But when we see others, we should reflect on ourselves and realize that they are sentient beings. I am also a part of this world. If he creates karma and faces consequences today, I should think about how I am also creating karma today. How can I avoid future suffering? The third point is to often face urgent challenges. Weight karmic obstacles heavy. Since time immemorial, we have accumulated countless sins. In this life, being able to live in a place like Singapore is the part of the world. You must have done some good deeds in your past life to enjoy blessings here today. What will you do when your blessings run out? During this period of enjoying blessings, have you been cultivating more blessings? If you enjoy blessings without cultivating more, and instead create more negative karma, your blessings will quickly diminish. Your negative karma will soon surface. This will become a big problem. When we die, we should often think about these things. This is it. These are matters closely related to us in the first 3 chapters. But there's a fan in the name of the Bodhisattva. In reality, it's wonderful. It tells us to think well. What does it mean to be good? it actually aligns with the true nature of Dharma, and this is human. If it goes against the true nature of Dharma, then it is not good. This explanation is hard to understand. It's hard to grasp. We must lower the level so everyone can understand. So what is the true nature of intention? The simplest way to say it is this scripture. Our thoughts and intentions. What we eat and wear. Not going against the teachings of this scripture is good. What we think does not go beyond the scope of this scripture. What we say also does not go against the teachings of this scripture. What we do completely follows the methods of the scripture. That's called good, right? So, Master in Guan put it very well. This layperson from the Ministry of Rites wanted me to have a look. We have 4 pillars on this platform, and he wanted me to write a few words for him. Then I thought of what Master in Guan taught me. To unlearn, respectfully offer your blood and show your sincerity. These 8 characters are great. These 8 characters, when spoken of now, truly, it can save us from this disaster. What does it mean to be of the same kind? Same kind, different people, same kind. Which kind do we belong to? The education in ancient China. The central point. The concept is about relationships. Ethical relationships, starting with husband and wife. Husband and wife live in one room, the same room. This room refers to a room, and outside the room is the home. Inside the home, there are fathers, sons, and brothers. Outside the home is society. Within society, there are rulers and subjects, and friends. So, since ancient times, China's education has been about the 5 relationships. These are different categories. Today, as we study Buddhism, we can say that within the 5 relationships, there is a special category for us who study Buddhism. Within Buddhism, there are many categories, and we belong to the Pure Land school. Which category do you belong to? Which role do you want to fulfill? In this particular identity, in this specific position, what exact work should I do? I must ensure that I do it exceptionally well. Make sure to contribute to society and colleagues. This is called making progress, and it is our duty. We fulfill our duty. Encourage yourself and others. Follow the teachings and act accordingly. Then guide others. Look at how many times the world-honored one has told us. He encourages us to uphold, recite, and be familiar with it for others. Its meaning is profound. To uphold means to fully accept what the scriptures teach. The study of Buddha, the theories Buddha spoke of, the methods Buddha taught, the realms Buddha described, fully accepting them. This is acceptance. After accepting, always maintain it and never lose it. And never let it deteriorate. Absolutely adhere to it. This is our duty. Not only that, but also to set an example for others to say, what it means. This is a performance. Life is a performance. Setting an example for others to say, I set this example. Does it correspond with what the scriptures say or not? For instance, the scriptures tell us that speaking well of others is good and not to criticize them. If we speak ill of others every day, then that's wrong and doesn't align with what the scriptures teach. You haven't accepted and upheld it, and you haven't set an example for others to say. This example must align with what the scriptures teach. It must be exactly the same. This. The knowledge of the worldly and the transcendental. Buddhism is education. I am religion. In seeking education, we must have a respectful and sincere heart when approaching teachers to learn. As the ancients often said, seek knowledge with an open mind and do not reject teachings you haven't heard before. This is the traditional way. Only students seek out education. Teachers don't come to you to teach. That's not how it works. If that's the case, then the way is not respected. Respect the teacher and value the teachings. The teacher's role has its own dignity. You must understand how to seek knowledge. Who is a wise mentor? Who is a good teacher? Today we are creating this cycle ourselves. Let me tell you all, this has truly been passed down from generation to generation, since ancient times. Who is your good teacher? The person you admire and respect the most in your heart. That person is your wise mentor. That is, indeed, your teacher. The person you admire might be an ordinary person. Even if they are someone unknown, you admire them. You respect them. Learning from them, you can succeed. If Amitabha Buddha or Shakyamuni Buddha came and you didn't have respect for them, if you don't admire them, even if you follow the Buddha every day, you won't learn anything. Where does this reasoning come from? It's actually quite simple. If you don't admire them, you won't be willing to follow what they say. They teach you one thing, but you do something else. If you don't listen, but if you truly respect a good teacher and you listen, it doesn't matter if the teacher hasn't achieved success themselves. Even if the teacher can't do it, if they teach you and you can do it. The teacher might not follow the rules in everything, but if they teach you the right method and you understand it all, you become a Buddha. You take charge and you surpass the teacher. So where is the good teacher? When we seek goodness, the good teacher is the person who is the best and whom I admire the most in my mind. When he speaks to me, I obey him 100% and dare not disobey him at all. This person is my virtuous teacher. It's not about their fame or high reputation. If you pretend to follow their teachings but secretly do otherwise, this will definitely not lead to success. And not only will it not lead to success, it also creates a heavy sin. What kind of sin? Deceiving your teacher and dishonoring your ancestors. Deceiving your teacher. Why would you worship them as a teacher? Only to deceive them. Deceiving the teacher. The teacher has assets. It's been passed down for generations. If you deceive the teacher, you look down on the ancestors. Going further back through the generations, you look down on the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This is true. You must truly respect the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This scripture was spoken by the Buddha. How dare you go against it?
After reading this scripture, there's someone who talks about this scripture. They speak with great eloquence. They speak in a way that makes people nod, but their actions completely contradict what the scriptures say. They no longer believe in Buddhism. Happiness is such a difficult thing to achieve. Studied Buddhism. For 7 years. I became a monk, made the decision to become a monk. After becoming a monk, I immediately started teaching scriptures, and at the Buddhist Academy. It was only 2 years later that I started receiving letters. I had been teaching scriptures for 2 years. After completing the precepts, I went to Taichung to see Teacher Lei. As soon as Teacher Lee saw me, he said to me, "You need to be happy." I was stunned that whole day. We met without any small talk. He directly told me, "You need to be happy." I was taken aback immediately. The experienced teacher explained to me. He clarified for me. Happiness is not simple. Don't think that just because you've now become a monk, taken the precepts, and are engaged in the work of spreading the Dharma. It doesn't necessarily mean true happiness. Some people become monks for their whole lives, even at 80 or 90, and still aren't happy. What is the standard for believing in Buddhism? It's when you've accomplished everything the Buddha spoke of in the scriptures that you can truly be called a follower of Buddhism. If you haven't done it, do you not believe? If you believe, how could you not do it? If you're unwilling to do it, you won't believe. So talking to me about the word our happiness is extremely difficult. Therefore, the world-honored one said in the Avatamsaka Sutra and the Mahaprajnaparamita Sastra that faith is the mother of all merits and a condition for the path. With faith, there is nothing that cannot be accomplished. In our practice towards true fruition, faith is the complete cause, the root source. Without firm faith, how can you achieve anything? You need to have this faith, and with more determination, strive to accomplish it with all your effort. The joy of speaking wrongly. The existence of wrongness is the wrong view of wrongness. First, you must understand how to prevent it. Preventing the wrongness of wrong scriptures. Methods of prevention. The layperson Li Weiyuan spoke very wisely. He said some things to everyone that day, and I heard it. The first thing he said was to tell people not to answer the phone. Once you pick up the phone, that hand can talk for an hour, half an hour, and it's all gossip. So when he instructs people, he tells the cadres in the association not to answer the phone if there's nothing important, and not to make phone calls either. This can avoid a lot of incorrect thoughts and concepts. That's why I often say not to read newspapers. Don't watch TV, don't listen to radio. Your mind will be at peace. In today's society, lay people have jobs and careers. You should engage with what you need to know for your work and career. It's better not to know what isn't necessary to know. Keep your mind clear. This is called good contemplation. Truly achieve doing your best in every meal. Keep your heart pure. Be sincere to others, without any deceit. If others treat us with insincerity, we should treat them with sincerity. Why? Because they are caught in the cycle of reincarnation. engaging in the three realms, aim to reach the Western Pure Land to meet Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha welcomes those with sincerity. Those who are hypocritical, Amitabha will not accept them. The ancient virtuous ones have explained this very clearly and plainly in their classic writings. It does not align with one's actions and words. Chanting Buddha's name, no matter how much, cannot bring results. If we are determined and have this great vow, we must aim to be reborn in this lifetime and follow the teachings devotedly. Therefore, this time, with the origin of our scholars, vow, I will definitely explain this sutra thoroughly and in detail without limiting the time. Even if it takes 3 or 5 years, it doesn't matter. If you come and listen each time you hear it and understand it, you can follow it and benefit from it for a lifetime. Let alone if you come to listen every time. Wouldn't that be great? But by doing this, does our good contemplation become perfect? No, it's only about 70 to 80%. How can it be perfect? By wholeheartedly reciting Amitabha Buddha, you will achieve perfection. You will definitely attain the Pure Land with your mind constantly reciting Amitabha Buddha. So I have also advised some fellow practitioners. I also advise people over the phone, this Lee Moywen, the elder said, not listening to the phone. I mean, you can listen to the phone. How do you listen? We just recite Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, no second thoughts. As he rambles, we just let Amitabha Buddha go straight in. This method of mine isn't bad, is it? And you don't have to spend your own phone bill. You say he calls, we just recite Amitabha Buddha and one line at a time. Pour into his alaya consciousness. We don't hear a word of his, just Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. In fact, if you don't want to listen, you can set the receiver aside, and when it's just our mouths moving. I say he can hear, but he says he can't. This monk's method is absolutely brilliant. These words are great. Chanting Buddha's name, seeking rebirth in the Pure Land. With every thought on Amitabha Buddha, that's what is called good contemplation, achieving perfection. Therefore, we must learn good contemplation to implement it in our lives as bodhisattvas, becoming virtuous Buddha bodhisattvas, ourselves becoming good social bodhisattvas. We should be aware of this. In Buddhism, there are many names of various Buddhas. You see, there are many temples now, and during the new year, they worship 10,000 Buddhas. In the Tripitaka, there is a sutra called the Sutra of the Names of 10,000 Buddhas.